Hello everyone, today we'll explain Upper Moon Demon 5 Gyokko's backstory, and we'll talk about his previous life as a human and his role as the Upper Demon Moon 5. Before we start, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the video so we can make more videos about this in the future. Now without any more delays, let's start the video. Out of all demons, Gyokko has the most grotesque physical appearance. Gyokko's design takes the form of a pale white, abstracted, and grotesque humanoid figure with scales all over its body. He has an upper torso with no arms, which resembles that of an armless statue growing from a porcelain pot, similar to a djinn. He has multiple infant-like hands that line his back. Gyokko is a self-proclaimed artist with a sadistic streak, being arrogant, egomaniacal, and short-fused, especially when people didn't appreciate his so-called art. In the past, Managi lived alone in the outskirts of a fisherman village. His parents had passed away from a drowning incident, something he was fascinated by and found beautiful when he saw their bodies. He was known for collecting fish carcasses, among other strange activities that led him to being disliked by others who kept their distance from him. At one point, a child had approached and teased him, causing him to lash out and murder the child, then stuffing them in a jar. The child's parents found out and in a fit of rage proceeded to stab Managi and leave him to die. He was eventually approached by Muzan Kibutsuji and became his minion, turning into the demon Gyokko that later became Upper Moon 5. Since then, he would prey on the flesh of humans, specifically children, and modify his body to his very own liking. Gyokko is depicted to be short-tempered, shallow, and arrogant, especially when it comes to things regarding his art, as seen when he was easily enraged by Muichiro when he began to insult and make fun of the quality of his art. Through his conversation with the Hashira, constantly praising himself as beautiful, and his work even more so, further reinforced his arrogant and narcissistic personality. His arrogance was most prominently displayed after he was beheaded by Muichiro Tokido, referring to the mist Hashira as an inferior and lower life form while calling himself a superb and chosen being. He's also shown himself to be incredibly petty and jealous, as seen when he attacked and mutilated Hotaru Hagenazuka due to his jealousy of the latter's focus and dedication to his work, surpassing his own zeal when working on his own art, and making him want to instead make the latter lose his focus and waste time on the swordsmith due to this petty jealousy. He's also shown to be incredibly morbid, as when Doma told him he placed a human head on top of his pots like a plant, Gyokko immediately saw it as more inspiration for his art. The extent of this morbid and violent inspiration for his art is shown even more when he brutally murdered several swordsmiths and used their corpses to create a beautiful piece by stitching their bodies together along with sticking several swords into them. This extreme sadism is shown even further when he built into the feature of them to scream when a sword is shoved deeper into his artwork, implying that they were still alive. Entertainment District Arc. Gyokko arrives at the Infinity Castle. Having been summoned to a gathering of the upper ranks, Gyokko greeted Akaza, asking him how he was after 90 years, and barely hiding his disappointment at the idea of his colleague's survival all these years. The potted demon also greeted Doma, exchanging small talk about the pot he had gifted his fellow upper rank as a gift. Shortly after this, Gyokko listened as Muzan Kibutsuji informed the group that Gyutaro had died, and berated them for their uselessness. The upper rank informed his leader that he had information that would get him closer to achieving his goals, only to have his head ripped off due to the information being unconfirmed. He was then ordered to head over with Hantengu once he corrected his mistake, leaving him bemused. The potted demon was then approached by Doma, who asked him about the information he had and if he could tag along, and was shocked as Akaza destroyed Doma's head from behind. He witnessed Kokushibo cutting off Akaza's hand and asked the Biwa demon to transport him and Hantengu to their destination. Swordsmith Village Arc. At the Swordsmith's village, Gyokko devoured an unsuspecting villager and spat him right back out, stating that it wasn't edible. He then noted that destroying the Swordsmith's village would severely weaken the Demon Slayers. When Muichiro Tokido and the two villagers came upon the shed looking for a new sword, Gyokko ambushes them from a ceramic pot. He introduces himself and asks if Muichiro would like to see his art. He then presents Death Throes of the Smiths, a morbid piece consisting of multiple swordsmiths' bodies stitched together with swords sticking out of them. Once attacked by Muichiro, he retreats inside his ceramic pot and reveals that he can transport himself from pot to pot at will. He explains that the pots are his pride and artwork, and becomes very upset when they're damaged. He then summons many fish from a pot and uses his blood demon art, Thousand Needle Fish Kill, to attack Muichiro, who lets himself be hit. Gyokko wonders what art he should make for Muichiro, but is rebuked and told he's worthless by Tokido. Upset again, he traps Muichiro with his water prison pot technique, commenting that death by suffocation is stylish and beautiful. While Muichiro struggles to escape the water prison pot, Gyokko advances upon the shed. He enters and sees Hotaru Hagenozuka working on the blade extracted from the training belt. Hotaru doesn't notice Gyokko's entrance behind him, enraging Gyokko at the prospect of another artist more concentrated on his craft than he. He summons a fish to attack Hotaru, breaking the swordsmith's mask, but not his concentration. Hotaru's dedication to the blade incentivizes Gyokko to force him to break his concentration rather than straight up murdering him. Muichiro escapes from the water prison pot with help from Kotetsu, surprising Gyokko and causing him to unleash his octopus vase held technique. Muichiro's Sea of Clouds and Haze technique nicks Gyokko, but he ducks back into his pot, reappearing in a different pot. He argues with Muichiro about the beauty of his pots, becoming enraged after an insult to their balance, and unleashes his 10,000 gliding slimefish technique. After Muichiro deflects 2 of his attacks, Gyokko reveals his true form and becomes more serious about killing him. Gyokko's true form has the ability to turn anything he punches into fish, and has heightened speed and strength. Muichiro then uses obscuring clouds to decapitate Gyokko, much to his disbelief.